So what happened to him? And Trish? They end up like you?
Trish, she was captured. I remember that. But I don't know what happened to Dante.
Damn it.
You can't travel through here in a car.
Yeah, we know. We're just waiting on you. There's only one way up that tree. Hang on, I'll get ready.
I'm glad to see you look so well.
You too, I guess.
I found these. If they're of any use to you, they're yours.
Wow, I can make something truly awesome out of these.
Shocker. Can we trust him?
Your guess is as good as mine. He might be useful, though. Enough talking. Get some rest. You need it.
Yo, lady, wake up! It's time to get to work.
I was just told to get some rest.
Oh, you were just told to get some rest? Well, we need to make a path. So start digging. Come on, get up, get up, get up!
Got something to wear that's good for digging?
And welcome back to part 5 of Devil May Cry 5, where today we're going through the first split path mission. There's only really 2 in the game, and this is the only one that really does anything with it. The idea of this mission is that you can pick whether to go through it as Nero or V, and you'll have slightly different routes that eventually meet up at the end for you to do the end challenge of it, sort of thing. It's a nice idea, but because they only do it in this mission properly, and one other mission where it's more of just the only co-op mission in the game, and even then, like as I've said before, the whole pseudo co-op thing, it's not real co-op, you can't like invite your friends or whatever. It's just if someone happens to be playing at the same time, it will link you up. As we get introduced to officially the next enemy that's given to you, the Riot, an enemy that on DMD you will learn to be very wary of, because if you get them in the air, they're a joke, they can't do anything, but on the ground, under the right circumstances, there is nothing stopping them from one-shotting you, even with max health. If they devil trigger and they like ready up their claw on the ground and you're right next to them and you just don't spot it 'cause you're dealing with something else, they can combo off that claw attack and it will kill you. If you see them start spinning and start jumping around like a bunch of maniacs, don't get caught by the spin, especially if they've DT'd, because they can follow it up and it will kill you. Any enemy that has any kind of vague follow-up attack on DMD is a severe risk, and the riots are the wake-up call when you go to DMD, because all the other enemies up until this point that you really encounter, you kind of get a feel for, like you already know how to handle them because of Son of Sparda, and you get caught every now and then, and it does like a reasonable amount of damage that you'd expect for the hardest difficulty, but it's not brutally unfair. You get caught once by a riot, the first time it instant kills you, you fucking know. You know to be a lot more aware. But there's V on his path. Once again, no one plays as V in the main story, especially on special editions. Everyone plays as Virgil, so we're not going to have anyone carrying over. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see any more guests for the rest of the Let's Play. I mean, it was cool enough that we got fucking Vegeta last time, and I think we had one earlier in the campaign as well where someone joined in on either mission 3 or 4. But we're not going to see it often, which is kind of depressing. Like, I knew it was going to happen, but it's still kind of depressing, because that was one of the genuinely cool things back when the game first came out, that if you went online on any mission, on any difficulty, you'd be able to see what other players are up to, and your reward for doing so is that if you play with another, like, I say with another player, if you witness another player, you can rate them, and the rating is just, do you like them, or was you not that caring? If you say you like them, they got a free gold orb, which a gold orb, if you don't know, is a free revive if you die in combat, which isn't the best of rewards. Like, I'd rather if it gave you like a shit ton of red orbs, like if it gave you like 10k sort of thing, but that is still like a cool idea, and I like how it works. I like the fact that you can just get gold orbs like that, and you know people have liked what they've seen by doing it. Yeah, like, it's kind of a dick move to not click the tick box, because it defaults you on it. All you're doing is clicking a button. You never see them again. It's not like they're going to pop up. It's not like it's proper co-op and it's like a risk that you'll get linked up with them again. No, it's just you tick a box and they get a free reward out of it, so you might as well. The fact that they give you an option in general and don't just make it a gold orb for participation kind of thing is something that if they ever make another game, I hope they would adjust. But then I say that, if they're going to make another Devil May Cry that's going to try and do anything with the co-op side of it, go fucking all in. Don't do this half pseudo stuff. Make it so we can invite our friends and just go all in on a mission. Obviously don't have every mission be co-op, just have a couple like this game is that just kind of make the most of it. Because if you try and make the entire game co-op, you end up with a problem most games that go through and they try and suddenly make the whole story co-op on a series that originally wasn't. And you just end up with it feeling like one character shouldn't be there for a lot of it. Even if you do integrate it well, it always feels awkward. So just making it 1 or 2 missions here or there, or if, you know, going with my thing I said about the other day of making it 30 missions, maybe go the whole hog and make it like a good 5 or 6 missions you can do co-op. Like, make it a healthy chunk of the game. Heck, go the whole stretch. One of the things I was hoping back when this game came out is firstly that if they did a Virgil DLC, they would go the reboot route of actually making Virgil have content and not just chucking the character in the main campaign. I knew it would happen, but in my pipe dream I was hoping we'd get like a mini adventure of Virgil and Dante going through a hell, cutting down the Clyforth routes within. Like, it didn't have to be anything special, and they could end it with, like, I don't know, another rival fight between the two of them for shits and giggles. But, like, the stakes being more friendly than the main game when we get to it. But they could have, like, done something more with it. But one of the things I hoped of is that one of the last bosses before maybe that final rival fight is a boss fight that Dante and Virgil take on together. And it let you choose whoever, and if you was doing co-op, the other person could control the other character, and it would have, like, that would have been a cool extension, even if it was only pseudo. The fact that you never get to fight a boss with this co-op is just a huge missed opportunity. I can imagine it would have been a nightmare to integrate and program properly, but when we get to mission 13, it shows without hesitation that it could be done. Like, they managed to make the co-op work naturally with 3 characters in mission 13. Yeah, you won't see it, because as I've said before, I'll be deactivating it in mission 13 because of the fact that it can lower your difficulty if it decides to link you up to someone else. And because I'll be going through it as Nero, I want it to be on DMD and not just reward me for being on DMD. Another thing I'm going to mention, and it doesn't bother me too much, but it is something I noticed and I was like, oh, okay, is in Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, there's a trophy for S ranking every difficulty, every mission on every difficulty, which I did as Virgil because I wasn't consistent enough with my Nero in 4, and I'd still say I'm probably not, because there's a lot of minor differences between the two that would just throw me off, that I'm not going to pretend I'm good at 4 just because I can play 5 somewhat competently. But because of that, I did it all as Virgil and got the trophy. You can't do that in 5. The trophy specifies it has to be on the Nero Dante V campaign. I'm like, you son of a bitch. The reason why I didn't do it in base 5 is because I don't like playing as V. So I had every intention of waiting till Virgil to just do it then. But no, you can't. It won't let you. The only trophy, the only like clear game trophy it will let you get as Virgil that isn't just the generic beat it as Virgil is LDK. Because LDK is the only difficulty that just says beat it. It doesn't say as any campaign or as any difficult or anything else. It just says do it. I say that LDK is a difficulty, so of course it's not going to say on some other difficulty, but you know what I mean. It doesn't have any other requirement other than just do it, so you can just do it as Virgil if you want. But every other difficulty and the S rank stuff is all saying, no, you have to do it on the Nero Dante V campaign, which just sucks. Also, this is the Mega Buster, by the way. It was a pre-order bonus back in the original launch of it, but now it's just built into Special Edition. Everything but the Banana Devil Arm is built into Special Edition, which I get that the Banana Arm was a complete joke weapon, but so is the Pasta Breaker, so what gives? Like, I actually have the Banana Breaker on base DMZ5, so I don't know why they didn't just decide to chuck it in the Special Edition regardless. Like, the banana breaker is literally that you shoot bananas. Like, I think it's called, like, the banana... I think it's just called, like, the banana arm or banana split arm or something like that. Like, it's a complete joke weapon and it's nothing but. It just shoots out bananas and it, like, bonks off enemy's head and does, like, no damage. Let's get rid of this Mega Buster because I want my block back. There we go. Oh, you can't... Okay, it doesn't aim up. It's literally Mega Man shoot dead ahead. I mean, okay, thanks for the reference, but that makes it kind of impractical. Well, I say that, all of the DLC... I say DLC, they're all pre-order bonuses. But the DLC weapons are pretty... Outside of the Gerbera GPO-1, I feel like all of them are kind of worthless for Nero. Like, but at the same time, the GPO-1, I've mentioned it before, but I feel like it's how the Gerbera base should have worked. Like, I don't think the GPO-1 needed to exist. I feel like the base should have just been this. Because the base Gerbera is just, if you stand still and press a circle button, it's a far weaker version of Overture. And that's it. And it's like, no, I'd rather be busy. If I stand still and press circle, I just immediately springboard straight up. Or if I'm in the air and do it, I springboard to the ground. Because it adds more options for combo variety. It's just the default Gerbera you should be going to for mobility. If you want to do damage with it, use any other Devil Arm. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, just... They're there for a reason. You don't need this one to have a little combat option as well. It's going to just be a worse version than another Devil Arm. But it just seems pointless. It's not the one that annoys me the most. The one that annoys me the most of the DLC stuff is the Cavalier DLC version. Because the Cavalier DLC straight up has a skill, has an extra skill on it that isn't on the normal. And it's an extremely helpful skill that makes the weapon far more viable for quick combat for Dante. Like, it almost feels like a necessity to an extent to have that skill. So the fact that you're just not allowed to have it because it's a DLC version and it's like it's not in the base weapon felt ridiculous. Like, it felt like one of those things that wasn't a developer decision, it was a Capcom decision that just like, yeah, no, have a DLC version of the Cavalier that has an extra skill on it, and a skill that's actually fucking helpful to the weapon, that helps really make it stand out. But because it's a quote-unquote DLC weapon, they had the equally baffling decision of making it that no DLC weapon is allowed in the bloody palace. So you can't even make the most of it. Like, you can't do anything special with them in the thing you're likely to go to try and do anything special with the weapons. And it was just like, what? Like, I love Devil May Cry 5, but it has so many baffling little decisions around it that do start to stack up as it goes on. And I know I'm bitch talking this game, that you can tell by how I'm playing it. I've put way too many fucking hours into it. But I think if anything, that just gives me more justification to bitch on it, because I always make this point, because I do sometimes get that the criticism on my channel. It's like, oh well, why are you criticizing it so much? You must hate it. And it's like, I genuinely, nothing winds me up more than that discussion. If you genuinely think that criticizing something is you hating it, wake up. That is a terrible way to think of it, because you're only going to let things get worse if you refuse to criticize it. If you just stand there and hopelessly believe that it will always be good and there's nothing ever wrong with it, there's nothing to learn from, and it will either grow stale or you'll give the people that make it room to be arrogant. You should always be striving to try and make it better and better. Even if it feels perfect, you should always be trying to go for something better and better. Like, holy shit, when I eventually get to the Final Fantasy 7 remake, I'm going to rip it a new one when I start talking about aerial combat. Because it's shit. I absolutely love Final Fantasy 7 remake, and I'd even go as far to say it's my favourite game on the PS4 generation. But it doesn't change the fact its air combat is abysmal. And that's what I mean. You should always be open to criticising what you love, so you can hope to see it continue to get better and better. And the reason why I get so angry about this when I talk about it is because I'm a Ruby fan. Or at least I was. And then I watched Ruby burn itself to the ground. Not just because people wouldn't criticise it, but because anyone who would get actively silenced by the entirety of the community. It's like, oh, you just don't know it. It's just, no, it's bad. You're just bad. Shut up. And it's like... And then the show got extremely stale, and Season 5 was some of the worst television I've ever watched, and that was coming from a huge fan of the series. Season 5 was a complete waste of time. Ow! So I'm getting annoyed. The game's like, shut up, Rob. But that's what, that goes back to my point on the riots. You see how much damage that fucker did in one hit? If he'd followed that up or it had caught me twice, that would have been the end of Nero. That would have been my first death. As in, I don't mean to bitch as much, it's a subject that's always got on my nerves. Because I have always been a firm believer. Yeah, if you're just sitting there going, it's shit, it should be better, you're not adding to the conversation, so what are you doing? But that's not constructive criticism. I'm specifically saying constructive criticism. But I'm specifically saying, if you can say this could have been better if they'd done X, Y, and Z, or this didn't feel like a right decision if instead they should have done this, like they shouldn't have made a Cavalier DLC version that had an extra skill, it should have just been on the base version. The DLC version should have just been a palette swap, since there already is palette swap DLCs anyway, since there's no alternate costumes in DMC5, there's just alternate colours. Well, colour, there isn't even alternate colours, they just did one alternate colour and called it a day. But I'm gonna shut up, there's a cutscene to play.
Nice. Getting the band back together, huh?
What evil lurks? I must destroy.
I thought that was the plan all along.
Oh, god damn it! Alright, there's my first death, lads, so shut up. I shut up to try and concentrate and it got me killed. Oh shit, wait, right, while I'm here, I never did show this off because I was too busy bitching when I got here. There is a scene here that you can trigger for a phone call, and V has a near identical one where you call the number and Nico shows up the exact same way.
Got a job for you.
But it's still a nice little scene, just Anyway, that being said, I'm going to cut until the start of round 2. Right, round 2. Go for the big guy with the sword first. This is this game's Angelos. After the Angelos were crowned the best enemy of DMC4, I guess the team were like, if we're going to bring it back, we need more Angelos in the next Devil May Cry. And I don't think they're as fun to fight as the Angelos in 4, because the Angelos in 4 has some really ridiculous shit that if you could turn on them were really fun. Like, remember when there was a group of 4 of them and they'd make that giant thunder orb, and if you launched it back on them, it was a guaranteed instant kill to all of them and a free triple S? But there's nothing like that in this. Like, you've got these big guys with the swords that kind of order around the guys with the shields, but it's not as contained. It's more like they'll eventually charge up a sword and the rest will just gather around him, and then they'll all start attacking at the same sort of time. But it doesn't feel as like it's like dictating them in the same way the what were they called? The A Angelos were in 4. You had the Blanca Angelos, but you had the Angelos that had an A in their name instead. But like the A's, they would order them around, or they'd make like if it was like another, once again, if they had another group of 4, get them to all suicide bomb you. It was genuinely what made floor 99 of Bloody Palace really fun. Because you'd get to the end and it'd do the whole, I think it was like 50 something nights, or probably even more than that. And it was just being able to just go wild with it and just see how many you could get to kill themselves, because they would proper bum rush you. And if you're going for it as Dante, like, well, there's your final Royal Guard test if you're up for it. Just stand still and wait, because they'll do nothing but suicide bomb you. But it's just that kind of extra piece of them. Like, I still think, and more so these shield guys are some of the better enemies in the game, but I just don't think they're as good as they were in 4. Like, this is really turning into the part where Rob criticizes everything, isn't it? I love this game. It's my second favorite Devil May Cry casually. I say casually, like, if you go into the final machinations, or specifically, like, I've talked about it before, about some of the mechanics and smaller pieces that were missing, but I do prefer 4's gameplay, specifically of Dante, over 5. Nero, to be honest, for the the Devil Breakers alone, I prefer his 5 interpretation. I know that's probably going to be sacrilege to some people because still, once again, no reversals. But the Devil Breakers give Nero, I think, some of the extra tools he needed. Because not to say that he was overly basic in 4, because there was certainly a lot under the hood. But compared to the walking toolbox that was Dante, Nero did feel like he needed a little more. And I feel like this was the way to go. The only thing I hope for in a sequel is that they go the full hog of making him somewhat similar to Dante. Because I get that they didn't want him to feel too similar to Dante, but I think if they made him like arm swap the way you swap styles, like have like 4 or 5 strapped to the D-pad, and just went from there instead of having them break, despite their name, just something you could swap to. Maybe, or instead, like if you do the charge-up attack, they deactivate for a set period of time, and then you can make it a mechanic where they don't deactivate if it's on a triple S, sort of like Dante's quad S that he has the Sin Devil trigger. So then there's more of a reason to try and play stylishly before you go for the super killing attacks. But I don't know, I'm just wishful thinking for a sequel that might never happen. And this is not me trying to jinx it like I did with Devil May Cry 2, where I made all my DMC 5 wishlist and then it just happened a month later. It isn't. It's me being genuine in the sense of I just don't think another Devil May Cry is going to happen anytime soon. I don't think the series is dead. I just think it's going to be dormant again for a good while. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. The reason why I was so desperate for DMC 5 is because DMC 4 felt like the start of something that never got finished. And that when we go through more 5 story, I feel validated in thinking that, because 5 answers for a lot of things that 4 was kind of subtly setting up. As well as feeling like a nice conclusion to everything by wrapping up things we didn't even realise we wanted wrapped it up. And so, like, leaving it on 5 feels like a worthy finish. Whilst if it had stopped on 4, which was, to be blunt, was the beach episode of Devil May Cry, and that's even ignoring how undercut a lot of its development hiccups were because of various other things that happened that resulted in you doing the first half of the game a second time as Dante. Like, they forgot to, you know, give Dante original levels. They didn't forget, they just couldn't. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just, for what could have been, 5 feels like the answer to that, and I'm more than happy. Like, obviously I'll still be excited when the next Devil May Cry is announced, but it won't be on the same level as the sheer hype I had waiting on DMC 5. And you guys remember that. Like, every time I was talking Devil May Cry, I brought up DMC 5 before it was announced. And remember when it did, it was on the center focus of every Let's Play I did. I only just noticed V's been dead for a while. Well, unless you're playing on normal, whoever you're buddy with expects them to die. Because their AI doesn't seem to really know how to handle the harder difficulties, so they will just get wrecked. The game still has the soft AI turn-off, as in if they're not on camera, the enemy won't do as much. So if there's a big threat and you're trying to deal with something else, just keep them off camera and you'll be fine. Like, it restricts them to the bare basics until they get on camera. And it's something that I do appreciate that they remembered, because it was something that I feared that they would forget after so long. That was the wrong button. That was the wrong button. I meant to double trigger and I impulsively hit L1. I've been playing as Virgil. Like, between parts, I've been doing Virgil practice because I want to do that LDK playthrough, and I want to make it really, well, not really good, but just as good as I feel comfortable making it. Like, I always want to feel like it's of quality when I do a Devil May Cry game. Like, I don't want to kind of just fandangle my way through and barely survive on the skin of my teeth. Like, I don't mind if I barely survive, but if I can get consistent-ish S ranks, I will. Even on Devil May Cry 2, as much as I didn't like that, I made a conscious effort to try and play well, if you remember. Like, I made a conscious effort to try and do creative stuff. I didn't just shoot everything to death despite the temptation. Like, I tried to make something of the combat, and to be fair, there were ideas of DMC2 that I didn't mind. It was just the execution that let it down. And Devil May Cry 3 was self-explanatory. Like, I went out of my way to do absolutely everything I possibly could in that Let's Play. I still need to do that bonus video, but it's on the long list of other Let's Plays that need bonus videos. Like, my priority list of the bonus videos, like, there are some that, I'm going to be honest with you, are probably never going to happen. Like the Evil Within DLC. I've mentioned it before, but whenever I eventually do continue Evil Within the universe, I'll just jump straight to 2 and explain what happened in Evil Within 1's DLC. Because I just really struggle to go back to that game. But there's a few others, and oh, I've got to wrap up now anyway because the cutscene's starting. 7,000 stylish points, hot damn.
Took us long enough to get here. What? Tired already?
I've just remembered something. This town was attacked. Once before.
Is that so?
I was here. I can still see it. In fact, I was playing right here. That was the house. This is where we part ways. You go ahead.
You're gonna miss all the fun.
No. I must seek out the Devil's Sword Sparta.
What? Yeah, I don't think that's such a good idea. Trust me.
You're not the only one who thinks so. But to win this fight, we're going to need all the help we can get.
Not the only one. What the hell aren't you telling me?
Anyway, it's time to wrap up. Next time on Devil May Cry 5, we're finally going to storm the main demon tree, the Qliphotep, to try and get our revenge on Urizen. But until then, you guys take care now. Peace.